Please rise as you are able and join us in singing, O Little Town of Bethlehem. O little town of Bethlehem, how still we see thee lie above thy deep and dreamless sleep. The silent stars go by, yet in thy dark street shineth the everlasting light. The hopes and fears of all the years are met in thee tonight. For Christ is born of Mary and gathered all above. While mortals sleep, the angels keep their watch of wondrous love. Oh, morning stars together proclaim the holy birth, and praises sing to God the King, and peace to all on earth. Is there another verse? That's it? And on to What Child Is This? What child is this who laid to rest on Mary's lap is sleeping, whom angels greet with anthems sweet, while shepherds watch are keeping? This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard, while angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him Lord, the babe, the Son of Mary. Why lies he in such mean estate, where ox and ox are sleeping? Good Christians hear, no sinners hear, the silent word is pleading. This is Christ the King, whom shepherds guard, while angels sing. Haste, haste to bring him Lord, the babe, the Son of Mary. Please take hold of the hand next to you, and we'll sing this gathering chant. We'll sing it 3 times. We gather here on Christmas Eve to share our love and our Christ's birth. We gather Christ's birth, we gather here this Christmas Eve to share our claim of peace on earth. One more time. We gather here on Christmas Eve to share our love and our Christ's birth. We gather here this Christmas Eve to share our claim of peace on earth.
Let us pray. Today, indeed, we come together to commemorate, to celebrate the birth of a babe who would transform the world, and to honor the awakening of that divine Christ nature within ourselves. As we come to the end of our Advent season, after a period of hope, of peace, of love, and of joy, we complete our candles in our Advent wreath, the Christ candle, symbolizing the light of God within each and every one of us, the light of God that shines forth as each of every one of us. And for this we are grateful, and so it is, and so let it be. Amen. You may be seated. Good evening and Merry Christmas. Welcome to our Christmas Eve service. If we've not had the chance to meet before, I'm Rev Ogun, Holder, Senior Minister here, and I'm thrilled to see each and every one of you. This evening's service might be a little different in terms of flow and experience from other Christmas Eve services that we've had here before, but change is good, right? Yes. Exactly. Remember that next time something in your life causes you anxiety as the change comes up. Change is good. I want to start with a few announcements first so that we don't interrupt the flow of service later. I do want to let you know our bookstore will be open after service. If you want to make some last-minute Christmas purchases, we have some really cool stuff in the bookstore if you've never had the chance to peruse, so please go check it out. Also, we will be taking up a love offering this evening, but not during the service. We're going to ask you to, at some point, as you feel comfortable, prepare that donation, whether it's in an envelope or some other form, and leave it with the ushers on your way out at the end of service. We want to be clear to keep the flow of service of the ceremony once it starts. You should have in your hand a candle. If you do not have a candle, please raise your hand so we can make sure that you have one for the candle lighting portion a little bit later. I want to acknowledge that we have prayer chaplains on duty with us. Can the prayer chaplains stand as they're able so that people can see you? At the end of our service this evening, should you feel the need to join in prayer, whether it's a prayer of concern or a prayer of lifting up in celebration, if you need to pray with someone one-on-one and in confidence, our prayer chaplains are here to pray with you. And we thank you for serving this evening. Please take a moment, if you've not yet, to set your cell phones to vibrate, so that we're not inadvertently shocked at some point during the service. This evening is a time of quiet, of contemplation, of connection, of tapping in to who we truly are as divine beings. I also hope to see each and every one of you here on Sunday. We will be doing our Burning Bowl service, an annual tradition here in Unity, where we truly take the time to release what no longer serves us. The service will be led by our prayer chaplain team leaders, Tom Paolini and Rena David, who's one of our prayer chaplains on service this evening. So at this time, I'm going to ask, I believe, Brian to come up and lead us in song. Share with us a song.
stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in fear and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary soul rejoices, for yonder breaks new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born, oh, night, oh, holy night, oh, night divine, oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of the dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in fear and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt its worth. A thrill of hope, the weary soul rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born.
Thank you, Brian. In unity, we view the birth of Jesus Christ not as simply a singular event that would begin the transformation of the world. Indeed, it did. There are not many people who, after a short 3-year ministry, we're still talking about thousands and thousands of years later. There are not many people whose mere presence was an example for us to follow. The thing I love about unity is that it doesn't just tell me that I am divine. It tells me how to be divine. Our co-founder, Charles Fillmore, viewed our divine, innate God self, our Christ consciousness, as the core of who we are. And that came with 12 abilities, 12 faculties, 12 powers, we call them. He aligned them with the disciples that followed Jesus. He used the disciples as a metaphor, but really, it's the how. It's the how. Sometimes we always want to know how, right? How is this thing going to resolve itself? How am I going to be okay? How? We always ask how. Through living in and from the 12 powers, these 12 divine attributes, we discover the how of how we bring God into visibility, in, through, and as us. These powers are not in any particular order of importance or relevance. In fact, our goal as true students is to embody them all. The power of understanding, that deep knowing that we are spiritual beings, above all and beyond all else. The knowing that our true nature is divine. That every opportunity, problem, challenge that presents itself before us begins with a spiritual solution. Life. Life is that power that enables us to rise above all that challenges us. It imbues us with the effervescence of God, if you will. The power of will. Will is that catalyst within us that says to us, yes. It is also a willingness, a surrender, if you will, to the divine inspiration that comes from within. Order. Order is knowing that as we create in this universe, as we create within us the experience we wish to have, there's a flow. Beginning in the mind of God and in our hearts, allowing divine ideas to spring forth and then to act on them, to bring them into expression. This is the divine order of our lives. Love. Both the power to attract and to harmonize, to bring to us that which is for our highest and best, to harmonize, to connect. Love is the power that stands under all. More often than not, we speak of God as love. Zeal. Zeal is divine enthusiasm. Zeal is joy. Zeal is the saying, yes, I will follow as divinely inspired. I will do it with great enthusiasm and energy. Wisdom. We've heard it said that the answers to all we seek lie within. More often than not, we know this to be intuition. We the divine within. We have all we need to know. We simply need to be open to receiving. The wisdom is ours. The power of power, or dominion, is really the idea of mastery. We are not victims in our lives. Life doesn't happen to us. Life happens for us. And when we remember this and tap into this divine power, we shift how we show up. And we gain mastery not only of ourselves, but the experiences around us. We don't dominate. Dominion is a sense of ownership. But it's also a sense of knowing that it begins with us. Faith. Faith, too, is a great attractor. Faith is that knowing beyond knowing that at the core center underneath everything is God. And it emanates from us, each and every one of us. To rely on faith is to rely on God. Strength. Come unto me, all who are weary, and I will give you strength. I can do all things through the Christ which strengthens me. God, all that is the source of our strength. When we think that we have no more to give, to take that next step, to go on, to move forward, it is to our inner divine power, strength, that we rely. Imagination. I loves me some imagination. Imagination is what allows us to see the highest and best outcomes and solutions. Imagination is what begins to lift us up out of the quagmire. When we worry, I always say we are misusing our power of imagination because we see the worst outcomes. But what happens if we were to choose to see the best outcomes? To see the highest resolution for all. To see a world that works for all. When we tap into our power of imagination in the midst of any circumstances, we see outcomes that we may not have perceived before. Elimination or release. This is the power of letting go what no longer serves us. Many of us like to carry our baggage a lot with us. Even when it no longer serves us, we still want to hold on. Whether it may be a grievance, a grudge, even something we love. We know when something no longer serves us. And the true cycle of abundance is to release so that there is room for more. These 12 powers, these 12 faculties, these 12 attributes of God are present in each and every one of us. And sometimes we need to connect with one more than others. Perhaps your life is in chaos right now. For any reason. It's an invitation to tap into your divine power of order and bring calm to it. Perhaps you feel exhausted, worn down. Divine strength is yours to call upon. Perhaps things feel disconnected. Love is the great harmonizer. you feel depleted, unmotivated, tap into that power of zeal and allow it to lift you up. Only you know what you need. In a few moments, we're going to go into a time of meditation. And when we do, I want to invite you to connect with that deepest part of yourself and listen. Listen to which of these divine attributes is calling to you that you can embrace and live fully throughout the coming year. A word of warning. Word of warning. Should you choose a power? Should you choose a power? Because, hey, that sounds cool. I want some of that. The universe will answer and provide opportunities for you to love, which often starts sometimes with conflict. For you to let go, which means bringing up the things you're attached to. Perhaps warning was the wrong word. It's a world, it's an opportunity. So a bit of logistics. After the meditation, I'm going to ask those in the back to come forward first, up through the center aisles. We'll have an ushers or someone to help direct you up through the center, and then going out around the back that way to keep the flow going this way. Come forward as your row is directed. Light your candle from whichever of these 12 powers, again, after meditation, you really feel is calling you and that you want to align with. And also take an affirmation. There are affirmations in these bowls for each power. Take one and keep it somewhere easily accessible to help anchor you. Trust that this is the affirmation that you need for you tonight and the upcoming year. You may not understand what it means for you right now, but trust me, the universe will let you know. And later during the year, when you've freaking out all about it, please come talk to me. I'll help remind you about this evening, and I'll say, what power did you choose? Well, there you go. That's why. Opportunity. What's that? Can you say them again? Can I say them? They're listed on the, yeah, and they're up on the screen. In case you two were wondering what they were. Thanks, Brian, for no, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. I invite you not to force an answer. I invite you not to go, I know my life, I think what it is. Listen. Be present to yourself. Allow God within to inspire, to speak, to lead, and give yourself permission to follow. So let's take a time to meditate. I'm going to ask them to bring the house lights down a little bit. If you're comfortable with closing your eyes, I invite you to do so. Plant both feet on the floor. And first, let's just center by taking a few deep breaths. With each exhale, allow the shoulders to fall a little further, the face to soften. With each exhale and inhale, allow your attention to follow the flow of the breath. and bring your attention to your heart space. If it helps, put a hand on your heart, but simply breathe into that center of who you are. At any point that you are distracted, maybe by the thoughts of the cooking that awaits, the gifts still to wrap, the anticipation of what you might be unwrapping tomorrow. Should these thoughts cross your mind, just simply notice them, let them pass, and return to the breath. Allow that heart space to open. Allow the mind to sink into your heart space. Allow intuition to bubble forth. With the single question of what power is calling me tonight? What power is calling me tonight? How am I to be the embodiment of the divine? What power calls me tonight? Let us take this question into the silence for a few moments. And so we trust our intuition. We trust our guidance. We trust it as we say goodbye to this year and embrace the new one. That this power to which we were called will anchor us, will guide us to manifest the highest and best version of who we are to be. And we say yes to that. So beginning with the back rows, I invite you to come forward. Our prayer chaplains, Nan and Nancy, will hold space and presence for us at either end of the table. Simply come forward. Light your candle to the power from which you were called, take an affirmation, and return to your seats.
Oh, sing, all ye citizens of heaven above. Glory to God in the highest heaven. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Christ, Lord, we greet thee, born this happy morning. Jesus, to thee be all glory given. Word of the Father, now in flesh appearing. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him. Oh, come, let us adore him, Christ the Lord. Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King. Let every heart prepare him room, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing, and heaven and nature sing. Joy to the world, the Savior reigns. Let all their songs employ, while fields and floods, rocks, hills, and plains repeat the sounding joy, repeat the sounding joy, repeat, repeat the sounding joy. He rules the world with truth and grace, and makes the nations prove the glories of his righteousness and wonders of his love, and wonders of his love, and wonders, wonders of his love. O come, Emmanuel, and ransom captive Israel, that mourns in lonely exile here, until the Son of God appear. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, O Israel. O come, our wisdom from on high, who ordered all things mightily, to us the path of knowledge show, and teach us in her ways to go. Rejoice, rejoice,
Emmanuel, and come to you, O Israel.
So I invite you now to stand gently, carefully. Watch the hat bobbles, watch the long hair. And join us as we sing Silent Night, Holy Night, a song we traditionally sing at our candlelight and services. And as you sing it this time, allow the peace that is God, that deep silence, to permeate itself through you. Let that be the place from which you live every day moving forward. And allow this power that is called to you, in effect, to be that star like the star that guided the wise men. To be the thing that sustained you. To be that room, that stable in the inn when there was no other room. To be the angels bringing divine messages. Silent night, holy night. Indeed, Christ the Savior is born in you and as you, each and every moment that you choose to live from love. I am grateful for you and the presence of God that you are. Merry Christmas to you, and good night, and be well. I invite you to gently blow your candles out. And as you make your way out, leave them in the baskets at the doors. Share your love offering with our ushers, and share love with each other. With hugs, handshakes, Merry Christmases, Happy Holidays.
Merry Christmas.
God bless.
Be well.
Merry Christmas, Ogun.
Merry Christmas, David.